It's Misty here from TheJollyFatElf. Happy Monday. Thanks so much for joining me today. We are revisiting another card from my 2019 holiday card series because I'm working on a one stamp 3 ways that will go up for you guys on Wednesday. As far as I know, both of these products are still available, so you can check out Hello Bluebird or My Favorite Things for those. And then last but not least, your question of the day is, have you ever been ice skating? So don't forget that every video will have a question, but not every question will be related to a giveaway. I actually just posted October's giveaway winners on Saturday, so make sure you check out that video. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy, and I will see you Wednesday for another card. Bear to be ice skating, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp this on some Eclipse masking paper after I went ahead and stamped it onto the card layer. I am using a piece of the Hammer Mill 100-pound cardstock for this card. I'm going to be using a mixture of distressed oxides and my Copic markers. So once I have that placed, I'm going to go ahead and tape this down with some washi tape, and then I'm going to bring in this die from Hello Bluebird. So I wanted this scene, but I wanted it to be a one layer, so I decided to go ahead and use my die as a stencil. And this worked out really, really well. So I'm going to be using 2 different colors of distressed oxides today. The first is Salty Ocean, and I'm using that for the actual pond. And the second one, I believe, is Tumbled Glass. So I am actually using some round brushes that I picked up from Amazon. These are, sometimes they're called toothbrush makeup brushes or oval makeup brushes. I know Picket Fence does the most amazing or whatever, but honestly, this is $13. You can get a set of like 10 from Amazon rather than spending so much money on the ones from Picket Fence. But you do you, boo. So here you can kind of see what we have started, and then I'm going to be bringing in some Copics and stuff to help me color this background. Now, I do already have another one that I did. I wanted to make sure that I had one where I could practice the colors that I wanted to use on before taking them directly to my project. So here are the colors. Here's the other one, and you can see me here using the Copic markers and bringing them in and deciding which ones I think will work. So I'm starting with B26, and this is really just kind of to add some shadow underneath the ground. So this is ground where he is skating. And I'm using the marker that's lighter than that one. I think it's B04 to kind of blend that out. Now, I don't have any issue coloring over distressed oxides with my Copics. I've seen several people do this. So if it worries you, just give it a test. But I didn't have any issues, and I haven't seen any issues with my markers either. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more shading to the background here. I'm going to be using B01 and B02. We'll start with B02 at the bottom and kind of work that up. Again, just adding some dimension to what I've already filled in with the distressed oxide inks. So I'm really just going in where there would be shadows, etc., to add this little bit of a darker, and then I'm going to go over it with the lighter. Now, you could do this if you had the airbrush system. That would also work, but of course I don't have that. So yeah. So here I'm going to bring in, I think it's B000 to do the snow. So I wanted to keep with the blue, but I didn't want the same tone of blue. So this may be a BG000, don't remember, but it's more of a blue-green rather than the blue that is the color from the pond. This did get a little bit darker than I wanted it to, but at the very end, you just really can't even tell. And you'll see me adding more colors, bringing more colors in, going back and forth for that. So I wanted to go ahead and color these trees, and I couldn't decide if I was going to do brown trees or if I was going to do some birch trees, if I was going to attempt to add in some wood grain, all those things. And I just decided, no, I wasn't going to do that. I was just going to color them brown. So I'm using several browns. Now, I really kind of wish I'd done birch trees, but I was really worried that it wouldn't look like a birch tree. It would just like Misty made some marks and then colored things gray. Plus, I didn't think that there would be enough contrast, and I really like how this looks with the brown. And you'll see that in just a second. Like I said, I wanted to make sure I was practicing first before taking this to my project, because there's nothing worse than working on a 1-layer card like this, or a 1-layer scene. They're not necessarily 1-layer cards, they're just 1-layer scenes. And then you mess up and you kind of have to start all over. So I am using the darkest E79 on the outside. Initially, I'm just kind of feathering it in, but then I'm going to go ahead and take this marker and draw the outline of the tree. And I actually really love how these trees turned out. Again, I am not an expert when it comes to Copic coloring. I, just kind of do darkest to lightest. And, I didn't have really a light source here. I was just trying to keep the middles a little bit lighter, and I really loved mixing this really cool E79 with the warmer E29. I think it was 29. Yeah, 29 and 27. I just felt like it added a ton of dimension and made the trees look rounded, especially when I went back over it and added a little bit more shadow on the outside. I don't know. I'm just really, really pleased with this card. There's only one part that I messed up that I'm a little bit irritated about, but at the end of the day, I still think this card turned out really, really nice. So I just went ahead and colored all of those trees the exact same way, and then bringing in a B04 marker to add a little bit more shadowing and shading around those trees. And then bringing in a marker to go ahead and go back around that outside again to just add a little bit more dimension. And then I'm actually going to bring in another blue to add even more dimension and more shadow underneath that ice. But first, I'm going to go ahead and work on my polar bear. Now, I brought in a blender pen. Oh, here's where I'm adding the darker blue to really add like that deep, dark shadow underneath the water. But I didn't cut out my mask perfectly, and I also didn't want to have to worry about coloring in the, or cutting out between the skates. So what I've done is I've just brought in a blender pen. This is just one from Stampin' Up, and I'm picking up that salty ocean and I'm just coloring in where I messed up, and there you go. It's perfect. And then I'm going to bring in that color that I used initially on the water to add a little bit of shadow around him, just to go around him a little bit. But yeah, I really like how it turned out. So here I'm going to be playing with some colors, trying to decide on what color I want to do for my polar bear, and I went a little too dark. Now, I will say that polar bears aren't white. They're more yellow than they are white. But I really wish I had just gone with like the outline and then just had barely colored it in rather than what I did. So if I just kind of kept it at this and just kind of went around the edges and blended that out, I think I probably would have liked it better. But I ended up filling the whole entire thing in here. And to me, he just doesn't look like a polar bear anymore. He just looks like a very pale blonde. He's a pale ale. But so yeah. So again, just not an expert, and I knew that I didn't want to use gray for him. I didn't want him to look dingy, really. And like I said, polar bears in the wild have a little bit of yellow tint to their fur. So here I'm bringing in my Granny Apple Green and my Poppy Parade Stampin' Blends. Again, you can mix any kind of alcohol markers together. So these will actually blend with the Copics. You can blend Copics with these or vice versa, and get a very similar look, just not quite as expensive. For the actual skates, I have this silver pen that I used in Monday's card. This is from Amazon. It's just a metallic pen or brush marker. And then decided to go ahead and bring in a little bit darker shadow and then blending that out. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim this down using my paper trimmer. Initially, I thought I might want to cut this out with a die, and you're going to see me bring in a die in just a second. Here, I was trying to decide if I wanted to add a little bit of gray, and you just couldn't see it. So it's just like, that was a complete waste of time. But here, like I said, I just kind of kept fiddling with the color, bringing in trying to add a little bit of dimension. And I just am so proud of this card. I love it so much. So here I'm going to go ahead and cut this out using my paper trimmer, and I've just cut it up close to the margins. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring in some paper. I couldn't decide if I wanted to use this Let It Snow Specialty Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up, or if I wanted to use the 6x6 Sprites. And I decided to go with the 6x6 Sprites because I really like this Harlequin pattern. And I really wanted to bring in some more of that red. So I'm making it a little bit different of the Christmas card today. I'm actually using red. So Poppy Parade and Pacific Point. I went ahead and did Pacific Point as the background because there's so much blue in this scene, and I wanted to bring some more of it in. I kind of considered using Early Espresso, but again, Early Espresso is more like of a cool tone brown to me. So I went ahead and went with the Pacific Point. For my sentiment, I'm using this Season's Greetings from the So Many Stars bundle. Love this font. It's so stinking pretty. Here I'm just working on getting it straight, and then I'm going to bring in my Poppy Parade ink to go ahead and stump that. So here I brought in my grid paper to line up the stamp because I was having a hard time with it on the plastic. So this is a really good trick if you need it. You just line it up on this grid paper, which you can pick up from the Stampin' Up website, and then you just line it up and pick it up with your Stamparatus, and then go. And then I'm going to line this up and then get this stamped. I mentioned in Monday's video that a Stamparatus is probably my most used tool in my craft room. It's one of my most favorite tools from Stampin' Up. So if you don't have one, I do suggest it. Christmas is coming. Put it on your Christmas list. Maybe Santa will be nice to you and bring it to you. So once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and adhere everything together. I'm just using some tape runner for that. Again, I'm using this paper from the Brights and then this piece of Pacific Point. A little bit, like I said, of a different color combo for Christmas. But I really wanted to bring in that blue from this background. So that's it. Once I get this all adhered together, I'm going to bring in a wink of Stella or as Spectrum Noir glimmer pen. And then, just going to add some details with that and call it a day. So thank you so much for joining me, guys. If you're interested in this card, it will be for sale over on my Facebook page, which you can find linked down below. All the supplies, etc., will be linked in the coordinating blog post as well as down below in the description box. Leave me a comment letting me know what you think of this card. Like I said, I really love it, and I am loving this week of cards. I cannot wait for you guys to see Friday's cards. You're gonna die. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Leave me a comment down below, and I will see you on Friday for another card. Bye for now.